old-timey, looking good. Creepers! Good morning, afternoon, or evening to you for tuning in and creeping with. Look how beautiful it is out. It is summer here in Oregon. Finally, the weather's back to being nice, and I love this old clock. And speaking of old time and old-timey, Gresham and Portland, Oregon has a ton of history cooking via the Oregonian, which I just dug through a bunch of old Oregonian articles for today's video. You may or may not remember a very iconic drive-through dairy that was here in the early, well, late 50s up until about the 70s, late 70s. SENN'S drive-through dairy. That's right, Walter Senn coming to Portland in the 50s, and then by 1957 owned and operated a dairy farm over off of Prescott, which is now actually dedicated, it's long gone, but is now dedicated to the Senn family and the dairy. And there's also some relics around town, and I found some really cool old pictures. So today we're doing some old reminiscent of SennsDairy. And as a kid, I absolutely loved their icon, their little cow. So stay tuned if you're a fan of old time Portland. You're gonna love this one. It's gonna be a good day. Old timey. Yep, old timey, looking good. We got the beautiful blue skies. And if you guys remember the SENN'S drive-through dairies, you'll probably love this one. Like I said, the original property located at 11206 Northeast Prescott Street. After 1957, the new location basically paved the way for about 7 more locations scattered all through Portland and the East Multnomah County area. And today we're going to do a little reminiscent. I actually found an auto shop, which was actually the site to the dairy itself. But Walter Senn, that's right, migrating here from Wisconsin in 1935, went to work for a dairy co-op that is now Mayflower Farms. The family lived on the edge of Beaverton, but he could squeeze the cash cow. And by 1943, he pasteurized land to lease a herd of 6 cows that he milked before he went to work. He borrowed a little less than $3,000 to get that original plant on Prescott started, which actually, like I said, helped the business very much grow. And today we're going to milk the cow and check out a former location of the SennsDairy, and also show you guys some really cool articles and some more information about Walter Senn and his family dairy. Stay tuned. But first, coffee. Coffee achieved. Look at that too. So dang good. Went with the big guns this morning. Alright, I'm gonna get this, take a sip or two of this, and we're gonna get to creeping. Got a lot to talk about. Old school, Gresham, Portland. Alright, coffee's hitting good. Just up a few blocks from Main Street, next to this beautiful mural by Lee Lawrenson, who we actually saw painting this kind of when I very first started doing YouTube. And it's a good kind of timeline rendition of old Gresham, from past, present, into the future. But yeah, way before most of this stuff was out here, there was a ton of dairy farms, and you could actually drive your old-timey car right through the, well, that was probably a little predated from the actual drive-through cars that you would have seen going through the dairy. But yeah, you would have drove right through the dairy, which one of the locations is not far from here. So we're going to creep over there now. I'm going to tell you guys more about Walter and his family. And ironically enough, Walter Gresham was the founder of Gresham, who actually never came here. He was a post office manager. But yeah, I love this old mural. All right, well, we're gonna get over closer to the old dairy, and then I'll tell you guys more about the SENN'S family dairy. Found some really cool pictures too of the old flyers and stuff. I dug deep through some old Oregonians and found some really cool pictures of that old cow that they used for a ton of their coupons and ads that ran in the Oregonian. And I found this new feature on the library, Multnomah County Library, that you can open up these portals that take you to the Oregonian, the Oregon Journal. So I got a ton of info and a bunch of really cool old pictures. All right, we're heading there now, not too far from here. All right, so this is the location to the old SennsDairy. In fact, I just talked with the owners and he was like, you can film, but just, he doesn't want to be on video and stuff, which is totally understandable. But if you can see, it's now a transmission shop. But for years, this was the old SennsDairy, and this was one of the final locations to that whole expansion of like over 7 different dairies in the area. And at one point, Fairview had a proposed plan for the brand new plant, which I actually found maps for. But over the years, folks would gather, or not gather, they would basically migrate to these destinations because they were one of the first in Oregon, in Portland, to offer glass milk bottles that were reusable. So you would come through, drive through, get the cold glass milk bottles, and then you could actually take them back in the little crate, and the company would give you like $1 per bottle. So a lot of folks would come through, get the chocolate milk or the eggnog, which I found all those old, pictures too, which I'll insert either at the end of this video or maybe after this clip. But the cow showing all the goodies that they had, and at one point they actually had a location right across the street from the original plant on Prescott, which offered cookies and eggnog shakes. And here's the owner now. He said he was camera shy, but he pulled up on me.
Get a picture of the tongue and groove. They put that all the way through the building.
What's it now?
The tongue and groove up there on the ceiling.
Oh, was that from the original?
Yeah, that's all original.
Up top here?
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool.
Tongue and groove underneath there.
Oh, that's so cool, dude.
Yep.
That's all original. Thanks so much for your time, by the way. I hate to bother you guys.
No problem.
This guy knew Piper. He was good friends with Piper. In fact, Piper's Pit Stop, another transmission stop, very famous out here in Portland, by the grappler Lynn Denton and Piper. But yeah, that guy was so cool. It's like, this was the old dairy. So, man, how cool is that? And I know a lot of Portlanders are going to get all the nostalgic feels when I talk and show the pictures of the old milk bottles. Because I read and saw a bunch of comments stating no one in Portland had the glass milk like they did. I mean, it was like cold as heck. In fact, they even offered iced milk, which I had never seen before. So pretty dang cool that all was all over Portland and the surrounding areas. But Gresham was lucky enough to actually have a location right here. Yeah, I couldn't find any pictures of this location back in the day, but I did manage to find some pictures of I believe it was the 102nd and Gleason location, which is pretty similar. It's got the same kind of pole out front, so I'm guessing, when the different businesses change hands and whatnot, they probably just utilize all the same poles and stuff. But yeah, man, folks would have gathered in their cars. Probably there was a walk-up window, maybe not, but you can see here where the old bay was basically, used as the drive-through. You pull in, get your glass milk bottles and all your goodies. So I'll go ahead and insert a lot of those, cartoons, which really captured my eye as a kid. I remember specifically my aunt and uncle taking us to go get the milk. They actually had the bottles in like the full, I think it was like a 6-pack case with the little metal tin. And I remember my uncle saying, this will be the best chocolate milk you've ever had. And honestly, if you've never had milk out of a glass bottle like that, ice cold, you're missing out. It was some of the best. But when I started looking at those old flyers, it really hit a chord with me because as a kid growing up, I loved cartoons and stuff. So I was a big fan of, even to this day, of companies using cartoon characters. So we'll insert some of those cow pictures here. Right back on the spring water corridor now. It got hot. I was able to take the jacket off. It feels so dang good now. But man, how cool was that? Gresham, I tell you, you guys have hung on to such great history, and same with the Oregonian, man. I really am so thankful for that new, digital website that has all the Oregon Journal, the Oregonian, be able to pull up all those old ads. It just brings back all the feels and really hits the nostalgia button. And like I said, there was 7 other locations all over Portland. I believe there was one on 181st, 102nd and Gleason, the Gresham location, and their actual original plan on Prescott, which is now, like I said in the beginning, a little city park where they've inserted little dairy trucks and just really paid a little, tip of the cap to the old SennsDairy, drive-through dairy. I'll enter some more pictures at the end of the video, but that's going to do it from Gresham. Another old school historic icon, remembering old Portland. And I have to give a shout out to a ton of people that have just taken pictures over the years and posted them online. It's been so cool to be able to see all those. So love you guys. Make sure you guys give me a big thumbs up. Do you remember getting the chocolate milk? Do you remember getting the milk in the bottles? If so, let me know. Love you guys. Say hello either way. Creeper out for now. Peace. Oh, and if you did go to the location, which one was the one you frequented the most? Let me know. Love you guys. Cue the outro. Creeper out for now. Peace.
Creeps, the Gresham